Good afternoon. Well, Ty, thank you very much for your kind words, and I am very honored to be here today with you. As you know, President Obama visited Europe on June 2009, and he was so inspired by the great work that's happening here that he talks about it often. I remember shortly after his visit here, he was in the White House press conference, and he got asked by the reporter, what are we doing to move the economy forward? And this was in the middle of the financial crisis. And he referenced programs like Year Up that are actually going to be the game changers in terms of how we can compete and win the future when it comes to competition in the global economy. Just think about three things that have happened in the last couple of 100 years. In the agricultural revolution, it used to be that you could be literally born and live an entire lifetime within a 25-mile radius because all the means of production distribution when it came to food and microeconomies existed in a very finite area. Then came the Industrial Revolution with trains and airplanes and ships. All of a sudden, the movement of labor and capital, that distance began to shrink. It would take weeks, not years or months, to move around goods and people and information. Then came the advent of the information revolution, where literally, with the click of a button, you could move billions of dollars across the globe. With a click of a button, you could collaborate with people all over the world. The backdrop against which we're competing, it's global in nature right now. And as the President said in his State of the Union address, it is very important for the United States to make sure that we win the future by supporting and investing in programs like Year Up. The President was so inspired. That is why what you're seeing, the work that Max is doing, and the CIO at the United States Department of Agriculture, Chris Smith, in terms of making sure that we're leveraging programs like this. That is why at the White House you see for the first time 2 people, and this is just the beginning. Because what we're doing is we're actually convening the entire United States government CIO Council to look at how can we scale programs like this. How can we take the lessons learned at the Department of Agriculture and scale it across the entire federal government? And I'm deeply committed to this cause because from a personal perspective, as some of you know, up in Tanzania, in Africa, my first language was Swahili, and I moved here at the age of 11. That was in 1985. I couldn't speak a word of English, and I remember going up to these 4 guys, and I was like, these are my people. So I went up and I started speaking in Swahili, and they sort of looked at me like, who the hell is this guy? And then I thought they didn't understand me. Shortly after that, so I started speaking louder. Next thing I know, I was in a fight, they're beating me up. But that was kind of my welcome to America moment. But, I was fortunate because starting at the end of 5th grade, I was in an ESL program, and I wasn't really exposed to what was even possible. And I share the same experiences that many people in the program share, which is that I was on the other side of the opportunity divide, not being able to communicate, coming from very humble economic means, and not really understanding that there's anyone out there that could help me. And a teacher in the ESL program took an interest in me and made sure that I learned and took us on these trips that sort of opened up the aperture of what was out there in the world. And that was a catalyzing change, a life-changing event in my life. And through intense ESL lessons and watching this TV show called Three's Company, that's how I learned English. And then I was exposed to, what was out there. But I think the reason this is really important in terms of the program here is not only are you able to educate the next generation of the workforce, But as we think about some of the toughest challenges that face this country, some of the most important issues that confront the nation, you are the people that are going to be leading. And as Thomas Jefferson once said, and I'll quote him, he said, "Come forward then and give us the aid of your talents and the weight of your character towards the establishment of a democracy." I would argue, as Max has, that when we look at the 21st century and when we think about the competition, the Darwinian competition that exists, is the investments that the Year Up is making and all of you that we're celebrating today, whether we call it a graduation or a celebration, are going to make a fundamental difference and are going to lead us to victory as we compete for the future. Thank you very much and congratulations, and I look forward to working with all of you.